Everyone thinks the prisoners at Attica slaughtered their hostages in cold blood. But what if I told you the real killers were the very men sent to restore order? This is the story of the Attica Prison Riot of 1971, the bloodiest prison uprising in American history. It's not just a tale of chaos, it's a chilling expose of power, lies, and the fight for human dignity. In the next few minutes, we'll peel back the layers of a tragedy that changed American prisons forever and uncover secrets buried for decades. And if you believe these hidden stories of justice and betrayal deserve to be heard, hit like, subscribe, and share, because the more people who see this, the harder it is for history's darkest truths to stay hidden. What turns a prison into a ticking time bomb? Nestled in the quiet farmland of Wyoming County, New York, Attica Correctional Facility was a grim monument to control. Built in 1931 as a maximum security prison, it was designed to house the state's most dangerous men. By 1971, it was a pressure cooker. 2,243 inmates crammed into cells meant for 1,600, creating a suffocating maze of concrete and steel. The demographics told a stark story. 63% of prisoners were Black or Latino, while 90% of the guards were white, fostering a racial divide that simmered with resentment. Life inside was dehumanizing. Inmates were allowed one shower a week, often just a bucket of cold water to splash half their body. Food was sparse and barely edible. Think watery gruel or moldy bread. Medical care was a cruel joke. A broken arm could mean months of untreated pain, and chronic illnesses were ignored. Letters to families were routinely opened, words blacked out, severing inmates' only link to the outside world. Labor was grueling, with inmates paid as little as 20 cents an hour for back-breaking work in the prison's metal shops or laundry. The final spark came in August 1971, when George Jackson, a Black Panther leader and prison activist, was killed by guards at San Quentin Prison in California. His death, widely seen as an assassination, sent shockwaves through Attica. Inmates, already pushed to the brink by years of abuse, saw Jackson's fate as a mirror of their own. Whispers of rebellion grew louder, fueled by the Black Power movement and a growing sense of injustice. So, how did this powder keg ignite? A single moment of defiance would spark a fire that shook the nation. Can a group of inmates seize control of a fortress in minutes? They did, spectacularly. On the morning of September 9, 1971, a routine altercation spiraled into chaos. Inmates Leroy Dewar and Ray Lamoury clashed with guards over a minor infraction in A Block. When officers tried to drag them to solitary confinement, a feared punishment known as the box, where men were locked in dark, airless cells for days, the yard erupted. In a surge of fury, 1,281 prisoners overpowered their captors, seizing D-Yard, Attica's central exercise field. They took 42 guards and civilian staff hostage, transforming tables, mattresses, and iron beds into makeshift barricades. A 21-year-old inmate, Elliot L.D. Barkley, emerged as their voice. Standing on a table with a stolen microphone, he declared, "We are men, not beasts." The prisoners issued 28 demands, rooted in basic human rights: nutritious food, access to education, fair wages, medical care, and an end to guard brutality. These weren't wild fantasies. They echoed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a document the U.S. championed globally but ignored within Attica's walls. News crews swarmed, broadcasting the uprising live, and America watched, riveted, as inmates turned a prison yard into a stage for justice. How did a ragtag rebellion capture a nation's attention? The state's response would reveal the true cost of ignoring their cries. Could words have stopped a massacre? They almost did. For 4 tense days, mediators like Black Panther Bobby Seale, journalists, and lawyers shuttled between inmates and officials. The prisoners' demands were grounded: clean water, medical care, and protection from guard abuse. Hostages, though scared, were treated humanely. Some later said inmates shared food and shielded them from harm. Guard John D'Arcangelo recalled, "They could have killed us, but they didn't." Commissioner Russell Oswald agreed to 28 demands like better health care. But two demands, amnesty for the rebels and firing Superintendent Vincent Mancusi, whose iron-fisted rule stoked the unrest, stalled talks. Governor Nelson Rockefeller, safe in Albany, refused to visit or negotiate directly, ignoring pleas from hostages' families. Why did hope crumble? One man's decision would turn a standoff into a slaughter. What's worth more than 43 human lives? To Governor Rockefeller, it was power. On September 13, 1971, at 9:46 a.m., the state launched a full-scale assault. Over 1,000 state troopers, National Guardsmen, and sheriff's deputies descended on Attica. Helicopters dropped tear gas canisters, blanketing D-Yard in a choking haze. Then came the gunfire. 3,000 rounds fired in a relentless 15-minute barrage. Bullets tore through inmates and hostages alike, some at point-blank range. When the smoke cleared, 43 people were dead, 29 inmates and 10 hostages. One guard, William Quinn, had died days earlier from a beating during the riot's chaotic start, but the rest fell to police fire. The state moved quickly to control the narrative. Rockefeller and officials claimed inmates had slit hostages' throats and castrated one guard, painting the prisoners as barbaric. The lie spread like wildfire. Major outlets like the New York Times initially reported it as fact, inflaming public fear. It was a calculated deception, designed to justify the massacre and shield the state from blame. How long could such a lie hold? A single piece of evidence was about to unravel it all. Can a coroner's report topple a government story? It did. Days after the assault, Wyoming County Coroner John Edlund released autopsies that shattered the state's narrative. Every hostage died from police bullets, not inmate knives. No throats were slit, no bodies mutilated. The findings, published in the New York Times and Time, sparked national outrage. Reporters dug deeper, uncovering horrors in the aftermath. Surviving inmates faced sadistic reprisals, stripped naked, forced to crawl over broken glass, beaten with batons, and denied medical care. Frank "Big Black" Smith, a towering figure in the Uprising, testified, "They wanted to break our spirits, to make us less than human." Another survivor, Carlos Roche, described being burned with cigarettes and left bleeding for hours. The public recoiled. Attica wasn't a riot suppressed. It was a state-sanctioned slaughter, covered up to protect those in power. Protests erupted, and civil rights groups demanded accountability. The truth exposed a brutal reality. The system valued control over lives, and Black and Latino inmates bore the brunt. Yet the fight for justice was just beginning. What would it take to right this wrong? Decades of struggle would test the nation's conscience. Does justice ever come when the system protects its own? It's a grueling battle. In 1974, inmates filed Al Jundi vs. Mancusi, a class-action lawsuit accusing the state of violating their civil rights. The case dragged for 26 years, a testament to the system's resistance. In 2000, New York settled, paying $8 million to inmates and $12 million to hostages' families. A staggering $20 million, equivalent to over $30 million today. The McKay Commission, formed to investigate, called Attica the bloodiest one-day encounter between Americans since the Civil War, with 128 men wounded alongside the 43 dead. Yet no official faced prison. Governor Hugh Carey, in 1976, issued pardons for inmates and dropped charges against officers, claiming it would close the book. For survivors like Big Black, who carried physical scars and PTSD, closure was impossible. Hostage Michael Smith, shot 4 times during the assault, said, "The state took our lives away, and no one paid the price." The lack of accountability fueled distrust, exposing a system that shielded its own while inmates and hostages suffered. Why does this injustice linger? Attica's shadow stretches into today's prisons. If a prison can become a war zone, what does justice really mean? Attica forced America to look at its prisons. It sparked reforms, grievance systems, better health care, oversight boards. But the tough-on-crime era rolled many back. From 1971 to 2000, U.S. incarceration soared 700%, disproportionately caging Black and Latino communities. Attica, still open, remains a symbol of a system valuing control over redemption. Its chant, Attica, Attica lives in John Lennon's songs and Al Pacino's cries in Dog Day Afternoon. It's a warning. Without change, another Attica waits. The question isn't just what happened, it's what we do now to stop it. What's the lesson here? It's time to ask what we're missing behind today's prison walls. Attica's truth isn't what they told you. The prisoners didn't kill those hostages. The state did, then lied to cover its tracks. If a massacre this big could be buried, what else hides in the shadows of our prisons? Ask yourself, is justice about truth or just the story the powerful write? And if you feel that pull to keep searching, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a step in our journey to uncover what still hides on this earth. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.